Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel B.P. McCoy is a Desert Storm veteran, a highly respected Marine officer and an avid student of both leadership theory and the history of warfare. At Camp Ripper on Highway 80, Lieutenant Colonel B.P. McCoy's 3rd Battalion 4th Marines are checking and rechecking their gear. Their mission? Cut off the head of the snake, seize the Iraqi capital, the command and control center for Saddam's military. McCoy gathers his men together for some final words of encouragement.
You are about to make history. We're invading not to conquer and subjugate the people. We're invading to evict the dictator. Remember who you are. You're well trained. I'm proud of you. Your countrymen are going to be proud of you too. God bless you, every one of you.
I'm here today with Colonel B.P. McCoy, USMC Retired, and author of this book, The Passion of Command, The Moral Imperative of Leadership.
It's an honor to be able to present our speaker to you tonight. Not only because he is an outstanding Marine and individual, but because these Marines standing here tonight and myself had the great opportunity to serve under him as McCoy's Marines. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming a great mentor to many men around this country and one hell of a guy, Colonel B.P. McCoy.
So I got ambushed. Dylan, thanks for the introduction. That was an introduction that would make my mother proud and my mother-in-law suspicious.
There are a lot of speakers that speak on leadership out there, and oftentimes a company is looking at 2 or 3 speakers to then hire for their event. So why should a company hire you?
People are people anywhere you go. It's about winning hearts and minds. And so in my 28 years, I accrued what would amount to a blue-collar PhD in human will. And what I do know is that that type of leadership is transferable. The way I've packaged it, the way I've taught it all over the world to many different organizations, they can pick it up and run with it. The Greek city-states. And this quote is from the Greek writer and historian Heracles. And it goes like this: out of every 100 men in battle, 10 shouldn't even be there. 80, they're nothing but targets. 9 are the real fighters, and we're lucky to have them since they make the battle. But the one is the warrior, and he brings the others home. I can tell you from my time in the Marine Corps, 28 years, as an athlete, as a student, and now in the private sector, whatever walk of life, that ratio holds true from organization to organization.
So BP is one of the most requested speakers in the leadership space. Why do people hire you as opposed to somebody else?
Because I don't offer a magic pill. There is no Wizard of Oz. And leadership is very straightforward. It's very simple when you boil it down. I've taken my 28 years of leadership in the Marine Corps through multiple combat tours and have condensed this down into 3 easy steps. For 1, improving yourself as a leader and reaching that moral imperative. And then 2, how to build the framework and structure within your day-to-day operations that empowers your employees, empowers your people, and gets those 80 to fight like the 9. And so that's what I can bring to the table. I think anybody can do it. It's a matter of a little bit of rigor, a little bit of transparency, and a little bit of accountability, and it can be done. And so this will allow us to actually execute the vision that we articulated and execute how we saw ourselves resourcing that vision. And it's 3 steps. It's rigor, it's transparency, and then it's accountability. What do I mean by rigor? Rigor is a set of training guidelines, it's processes, it's procedures, it's those type things that give us structure to our daily functions or how we are going to execute a task. Transparency is how do we know we're doing the right things? And are we doing them to the correct standard? How do we know? And there's another little tool in here that I would call the tyranny of transparency, that if people know that they're going to have to show their homework in a public forum, say as an update or a production meeting, then they're going to be motivated to make sure that they've moved the needle. And I'll show in our workshop a couple hard tools that you can use either on PowerPoint or a Word product that allows you to keep the ball moving, to maintain traction towards that vision end state. And then finally, if you have rigor and you have transparency, accountability becomes pretty easy. It becomes pretty plain to see what is working and what is not, who is working and who is not.
So BP, with your 28 years of experience in the military, how do you take what you know as a leader and your proven skills as a leader in the military and take it into corporate America?
I would tell you, Jennifer, that after my 28 years, I've assessed that leadership is universal. People are people anywhere you go. It's about winning hearts and minds. Hearts and minds. I will tell you that the hardest battle I ever fought was for the hearts and minds of these Marines. Because once you win their hearts and minds, all the other battles are already won. The fight at Al Qut was won ever before the first shot was fired because they had committed. They believed. And when that happens, when hearts and minds are won, those 80 that we talked about earlier fight like the 9. And that's the magic. That's Camelot.
And there's a lot of Marines that probably walked out of there, myself being one of them, because these guys were lousy shots and should have had us dead to rights, but just missed when it counted, and we didn't miss. You know, the pointy end of all our strategy and national policies comes down to that kid that was last year's high school senior, crossing no man's land and coming to blows with the enemy. America's youth is well intact. They are tough, smart, dedicated, very impressive. I mean, it's humbling to be in their presence.
You can make a difference. You do make a difference every day in taking what is and what's right and making those veterans and their families whole. I tell you, Marines are incredibly easy to lead. All they demand is your very best every single day. And then when you do that, they double it in return. And when I redoubled my efforts, they gave back tenfold. And I am forever hopelessly in their debt. Thank you, and thank you everyone for your attention. Yeah.